again. I'm going to try another ASMR video. Gum chewing is a major thing for me, so I'm going to chew some gum. Wrigley's extra, to be fair. I don't normally chew gum myself, but when other people chew gum, it does it for me. But here we go. Okay. Thought I'd talk about what I'm reading at the moment. I'm reading, don't know how much of this will fit in, Margaret Atwood's Mad Adam. This is the third book in her trilogy. It started with Oryx and Crake. The second book was The Hero of the Flood, and they're science fiction novels, I think. In the past, Margaret Atwood has shied away from the term science fiction, maybe, and classified herself as speculative fiction. And this has caused some friction. Some science fiction fans, science fiction fans have thought that this is an act of snobbery, maybe. But I don't know. I've become quite a fan of Margaret Atwood, and I think a book like The Handmaid's Tale, which I love, which I recommend you read if you haven't, isn't quite science fiction, and she's quite right to call it speculative fiction, because everything that occurs within The Handmaid's Tale could occur theoretically right now. There's no advanced technology. It's not set in some distant future. It's more like an alternative view of how the present could be if certain events were to unfold. I really recommend you read The Handmaid's Tale. It's a book that in some ways gets me angry because it draws my attention to prevailing attitudes towards women that I find very depressing. I don't think it's as far-fetched as it might have seemed when it was originally published back in the mid-80s. But Mad Adam, Oryx and Crake, and Hugh the Flood, I would say, are more science fiction. They're set in the future, and they involve genetic engineering, certain technologies that just don't exist at the moment. Although, having said that, Oryx and Crake, which was written back in the early noughties, had almost a throwaway bit of detail about luminous green, glow-in-the-dark, bioengineered rabbits. And I read the other day that that's happened. That's makes me suspect Margaret Atwood of being a time traveller from the future. But anyway, why do I like these books in particular? I think as an author, she's also a poet, and I think that probably feeds into her style, obviously, is that she can create a mood and an image within your mind when you're reading her books, where there doesn't seem to be much. There's no intermediate stage. That's hard to describe. It's like the gap between you reading on what's on the page seems to bypass your conscious mind and immediately exist within your imagination. And when I read authors, when I read writers who can do this, I find that that's the best kind of writing. And it doesn't matter what genre they're writing in. You find this in all kind of genres. In genres and also literary fiction. There are some people who can just do it. She is one of those. And so I've followed the story of Oryx and Crake through to the Year and the Flood and to Mad Adam. And it's like, I'm quite actually a diversion. I don't know if it showed up. She was in London where I work. I don't live in London, but I tend to work in London. And she was signing copies, and she was just present. Oh, I wish I could have nipped away from work and gone to Gower Street. I think it was last week. Or was it the week before? Anyway, she was in London when I was in London during the publication of Mad Adam. And I knew exactly which bookstore she was at. I would have loved to have fanboy Kiki gone ahead and, I don't know, got book signed, asked for a photo to be taken, but I couldn't. I was working on a very stressful project, so I couldn't get away. But I did manage to get my book. Look, was the signed first edition. So I got a signature on there. Quite like the fact that it bleeds through the page, a bit of authenticity. So, yeah, pleased about that. Anyway, I have no idea how much time has passed. Maybe I'll go into more of this later. I want to do a video where I'm just preparing some food. There's one by, if you ever search for ASMR on YouTube, you would have seen him. Veni Vidi Vulps, something like that. A woman with red hair. Anyway, one of her earlier ASMR videos is her preparing some tea. Oh man, that was a good one. I love watching people preparing intricate stuff. It just soothes me so much. So I want to do a similar thing where I'm just preparing stuff. I think I might have already mentioned it in the first video I did. Yeah, something like that. So, yeah. Anyway. I guess I'll see you around.